Welcome to another episode of the S.E.M podcast. Jack Bryce and Zach Hewlett back again, and today we're joined by Chad Wilcoxen. How you doing, Chad?
Doing great. I'm glad to be on.
Great. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Layton, Utah. So, that's a story in itself. How I pronounce my T's.
Layton.
That came from Scotland.
I heard it.
And everybody picks up on it in Utah. Like,
Really?
you said Layton.
Layton.
Like people like, where are you from? And then I say mountain. I say mountain, and people are like, what are you saying? And that came from my areas in Scotland because they made fun of me, like mountain and Layton. And I'm like, fine, I'll say my T's. And now I say my T's, and people in Utah are like, you're weird. And I'm like, you don't say it right. So there we go. We started. I'm from Layton, Utah.
That's hilarious.
Great. Right away, man.
Getting after it. And I'm not from Layton. I'm from Ogden, but I live here in Layton now with my family.
Very good.
Love it.
Very good. Well, Chad, start us off with leading up to the mission, any story, finding out you're going to Scotland, what that was like.
Man, okay. Leading up to the mission, do I got a story for you? Okay. So leading up to the mission, it was kind of never really like a decision, right? Like, because I had two older brothers, and it was like they all went when they were 19. So it was kind of just like, hey, when I turn 19, I'm going on a mission. I think that's a little bit different for me as like a member of the church. It was kind of just like expected, and I just never really thought like, hey, there's a possibility of me not going. I just kind of was always planning on it. So I was planning on it, but not preparing for it. And my stake president made it very poignant to say like, hey, Chad, you're not ready to go on a mission. So what happened is, hey, you get through all the papers and you're like, hey, let's go on a mission. And Bishop's all great. Go to the stake president. And he was my basketball coach. And he was like, so why do you think you are ready to go on a mission? I was like, I don't know. I just think it's time for me to go on a mission. And this is like October, thinking, okay, I turned 19 in November. We're ready to go on my birthday. He comes back, is like, so you think you're ready? How many times you read the Book of Mormon? And I was like, 0. And he was like, you're not going. And I'm like, what? And he held my papers. And we had weekly meetings.
Oh my gosh.
Book of Mormon. And then he turned in my papers after that. So I was like a couple months delayed, and I just crushed the Book of Mormon before. But it helped me learn how to study, I think. So the stake president definitely helped me out before I went. And that's kind of what helped me prepare. So then I got my call, and I remember getting my call. And just like every other American, I'm assuming, reading their call, they all say, Edinburgh, Scotland.
Yep.
and I was just like, Braveheart was one of my favorite movies. And I was like, this is awesome. My dad's like, Edinburgh, I love it. And I was like, you said it wrong too, Dad. You're a loser.
Jeez.
But yeah, it was just epic. I just remember getting the call and just being so pumped. I thought I was going to go somewhere Eastern European. My brother went to Donetsk, Ukraine. My other brother went to the Baltics, which is like the worst mission ever. Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. But like they all spoke Russian. So I was like, I'm going Russian. And I didn't. I went to Scotland. Still learned the language, but super pumped about it.
Yeah, that's cool. Love it.
Cool. So what years did you serve?
I served January 06 to January 08.
Great. And what have you been up to since you got home?
What have you been up to since you got home? A lot. I mean, I've been home, 08 to, so what is that?
Give us the highlights of the last, 16 years.
All right. Highlights of the last 16 years. I'll try to keep it somewhat on the positive, because it's like there's some negative parts coming home from my mission where it's not negative, it's just sad, right? So got home from 08, had great experience coming home. I got to go work for my dad for about a year. And my dad was a funeral director by trade. So death was part of our life. We knew all about death. But a sad story along those lines is I don't think you guys have had the opportunity to interview my cousin who also served in Scotland. So make sure we reach out to Dallin.
I have.
How did that go, Zach? Oh, well, I'll talk to him.
I'd love Dallin to come on. I invited him. I know I served around him towards the end of my mission, and we had some fun together. But yeah, he just said it wasn't something he was interested in. So if you can give him a gentle, loving nudge, we'd love to have Dallin come on.
Yeah, I mean, Dallin's story is a lot different than mine, right? So he had a pretty crazy experience on his mission, as well as he came home to some pretty sad news where he lost his dad. So he lost his dad in 2008, and then I lost my grandpa I lost my dad in 2009, and then I lost my grandpa in 2010. So it was just a lot where it hit Wilcoxens and the Rays in like a three. It comes in threes. It was a rough three. Like Dallin lost his dad in a very tragic way. I lost my dad in a very tragic way, and then my grandpa lost in a very tragic way. So it was pretty tough.
Man. I didn't realize that, Chad. That's tough. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's like the toughest part of coming home. Is like the experiences that you have. It's back to the real world. But like from there, it's been all positive. So from there, I met my wife in 2011. And funny story there, we met over Facebook, which is kind of creepy, but I met over Facebook. But coolest story ever. So back when Facebook was a thing and you used it, it was like, hey, she came up and people you may know. I asked her to be my friend, and she asked hey, do I know you? And I say, no, you don't know me, but you're cute. And she's like, hey, totally fine. I knew your dad. And that's when it was like, you knew my dad. That's super cool. My dad came to Weber State on an not NFL flip. He came to Weber State on a college scholarship to play football from Washington, lived in her great grandma's house, and was actually engaged to her aunt. And like her family like adores my dad. Like my dad was a legend in her house. Funny story. The day after I got home from my mission, I did the funeral with her grandpa. Like I'm in her family's book, taking the casket out of the hearse and giving them to the pallbearers. So like,
gosh,
my dad had a hand in that whole relationship because he always told their family he'd be part of their family in one way or the other. He made me part of their family.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
That's cool.
Story about Brinley and I's connection. And then from there, we got 4 kids. We've got 3 girls, 1 boy. I've got a 12-year-old, a 9-year-old who I coach religiously every year, different sport. And then a 6-year-old girl and a 3-year-old girl. So Scarlett, Jack, Vivian, and Chloe. And they're my life. So that's me in a nutshell. And then for work, I do, I'm in tech, so I sell software. I work for a company out of Seattle. I work from home all day, and I do Zoom calls like this. So I talk to them each and every day about retail intelligence. That's my life in a nutshell.
Okay.
And I'm sure you do it to the best of your ability, right, Chad?
I love it. Like
I'm sure.
Love it. So yeah, I do everything to provide for my family to the best of my ability, so that my wife gets to be a mom. That's my goal.
That's good on you, man.
All right. Well, take us back to January 2006. We'll start, MTC. Just walk us through companions, areas, whatever memories you want to talk about.
Okay, well, this is going to be fun. You'll have to spur some memories by this whole back and forth communication. But January 2006, I was the guinea pig of the 2-week hell week of the MTC. Like,
oh, okay.
That's when they started it, huh?
P-days on Sunday, no sports, and like you're just grinding for 2 weeks. I think I could be wrong, but it was rough. I gained like a stone and a half. That's ridiculous. So I came like, just, what are you doing? That's what I remember about the MTC. And of course, my group, I think, is legends. Like, we've got Elder Jansen from Denmark, who was my companion. And then you've got like Maddock, you've got who, I can't think of his name right now. Crap. I mean, you got McCabe, you've got holy crap, I can't think of their names. Johnson,
Harlow, McLean.
Harlow. That's who I was trying to think of. Harlow. Name the other ones.
Keenan Price, Guyman, Tobias Lukes.
Yeah, like you spoke to Tobias, didn't you?
Yeah, he's been on.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
And then Guyman, I think, is from Gunnison. So it was just like a good group of dudes that we all got along like really well.
Big group too.
Like we all got along really well too. Like there was no like odd man out from the MTC, or at least I don't think. Hopefully, I didn't. I could be speaking for myself, but I felt like we all kind of meshed really well in the MTC. We all got along. We all joked around.
The other one I missed was Keenan Price too. He was in your.
No, you said Price. You said Price. But yeah, MTC was great. And then from there, what I do remember was, I can't remember. Balak was still serving, right? He wasn't teaching at that time, right?
No, he was. He had been my companion towards the end of 2005, so he was still in the mission.
But there was someone that was teaching that like knew everybody still up in the mission, and he got the inside track of who was going to train.
Oh, it was probably Pattenden.
Yeah.
Was it Pattenden? Because I thought Pattenden was still serving.
His little brother was Stuart Pattenden was. Chris Pattenden, who was there when he was the AP, probably my second, third, fourth transfer, somewhere in there. Yeah, he worked at the MTC and eventually was the director or whatever. Yeah, so
it was Chris. And I remember he had like an inside track of who he said was probably going to be trainers. And I don't know if it was like the day before or like something. But listed him on the board, and he was like, "This guy's cool. This guy's cool." And I remember this, and I was like, "Flip! I hope I get this guy." And that guy was Oliver Kellogg. And I don't know if you talked to Kellogg, but I wasn't built for Kellogg. Like, Kellogg is an awesome missionary, and he was an awesome trainer, and he worked my butt. And I just remember going to Glasgow thinking like, man, I'm going to crush it. And we're talking city center Glasgow. Like, you got to be on your game to work a high street. And I'm talking to you guys. I'm not good at talking to strangers. Like, he's going to go put me on a corner to talk about Jesus. And I'm terrified. And Kellogg made you do it. And if you didn't, you sucked at life. And jeez. I just remember, like, Kellogg was a man, and I was a boy that needed to be a man very quickly. And I love him. Like, he probably doesn't know how much I appreciate him. And if you bring him on, you need to tell him. Like, Chad speaks very highly of you. I've got some stories with Kellogg. Like, my favorite story of Kellogg, he probably doesn't even remember this, but like, you know how you used to chap like a apartment, you had to buzz.
Oh, and yeah.
I hated buzzing. I'm like, I'm not doing this, Kellogg. You're talking to these people. I'm like, and it was because I was scared and like an introvert, but like, you probably like, he's like, you're doing this. And I'm like, I'm going home. And he's like, no, you're not. And we got in a little, like, Kellogg boxed before his mission. We got in a little boxing match. I'm just like checking myself at the door, like, don't hit me. And like, he's the man. And then did we serve for 3 months? No, couldn't have served for 3 months. I think it was only.
I can tell you while you're looking at that chat, I have been in touch with Kellogg. Yeah. He is listening to these, aka he's subscribed to our YouTube channel, so he'll probably watch this. So give him a big smile.
Yeah.
I've invited him to come on. He's got such a hectic schedule.
He's Sky West, right?
Yeah, but
He's always
we're working on him, and he hasn't said no yet. Just
he's gonna come on.
It's just not yet right now.
I'm calling him out. Like, we serve together. He's got to come. He's got to come on. I love the guy, and he doesn't know that. Like, we fought too much for him to know that he changed. like, you know those guys that you fight with? I was that guy. Like, I'm not a fighter now. I'm a lover. But like with Kellogg, we fought all the time. Like, I was lazy, and he was like, "Dude, you're on a mission. Work, or you go home." Like, and
Laid down the law.
Like, he was the man. Like, from a training perspective, he was the man. And then from Kellogg,
So good.
polar opposites. Like, I went from Kellogg to Marcus McBride. I don't know if you know who Marcus McBride is, but
Yeah, I know Marcus.
they are completely not the same person. All right.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And Marcus was like, he's gonna kill you with love. So like, he's gonna make you work, but in a roundabout way. First bathroom incident with McBride. So like, you guys all know those bathroom incidents.
Oh no.
Best one ever. One you don't want to tell your family about, but like, my family already knows that I got bathroom incidents. So coming off the bus from City Center, someone gave us Vindaloo curry. Didn't work at all.
Oh no.
And we've got like a 10-minute walk from the bus stop to our flat, and we're not making it. So like, we're going up to the front door of someone's apartment, and we're gonna knock on the door. Hey, I gotta use your loo. That didn't make it, and we're like, we're not making it to the front door. We're behind a hedge. We're ducking in these bushes.
Oh my gosh.
And
Together, holding hands.
Oh, but I vividly remember McBride's face, because we're walking to the front door, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna make it, and I'm huddling back into the hedge, and I remember his face being complete horror and just, how could you do this? And I was like, there's nothing you can do, McBride. You gotta live it. And family procs became like a little degraded at that point.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
you did not.
And that hedge will never be the same. It saw things it never wanted to see. We got out of Dodge, and nothing ever of the wiser. But we could have got public indecency and been thrown out of the country probably. So that's that one.
My word. So wait, hang on. For clarification, that happened to you only, not to both of you.
No, just to me. Like,
okay.
McBride's been out for a long time. He can handle Vindaloo. Chad, on the other hand, could not handle it.
Man, you got some serious Glasgow culture, it sounds like.
So that's the other thing. And then I went from McBride to Bjorke from Norway. Great. Don't have too many memories with, like, I sent Bjorke home, and the one thing I do remember is he had this like Gumby yellow dude that was like creepy, and he loved him. Like, he carried him around, and he like studied with him. I was like, dude, what's up, bro? Love you too, man. So,
now I need to ask him this, but was he trained by Trevin Hout? Do you remember?
You'd have to ask him. I can't remember.
Because Trevin Hout had his own Gumby that he took
It was
from.
probably like handed down.
No, there's no way. Trevin had that through the moment he was an assistant before he went home. Like, that thing was in every photo. So it may have been his own version, Elder Bjatker's own version of Gumby. I'm trying to remember if they served together. I know they were around each other at some points in the mission, but whether they were companions or not, I can't remember.
Well, I can tell you that he had that Gumby dude, and he was awesome. It's like a little smiley face, and he loved it. And I loved him, dude. He was the man too. Like, I can't think of a companion that I didn't like. Like, all of them brought great memories to me. From there, though, like I was 6 months in the city center of Glasgow when I went up. So it was like, whoa, culture. This is a tough place, and they don't like me. I like thrive on people liking me. So it was like, geez, you
So one of those you were with for 3 months. Who were you with for 3 months?
guys, flipping heck, I can't remember. I mean, no, can't remember. It had to have been, no, Biaker was only 6. I think Kellogg was 3.
Okay.
And for some reason, I think it was Kellogg, but you'd have to ask Kellogg. For
Okay.
some reason, I did not write time. I just wrote like, "Hey, this is who I served with and where they're from." Like, you're useless, 19-year-old Chad, 21-year-old Chad. Like, take that away.
Jeez.
Like, pathetic. And
No,
then
you said you went through your notes before this, your journals and your T-books and stuff.
my notes doesn't say how long I served with people. Like, it's like, well, I'm gonna have to just go with the flow on this one. And then from Biaker, I went up to Edinburgh, and I'm a dad at that point. I'm dad, and I got to serve with Nick Drennan, who was from New Scotland or Nova Scotia in Canada, and he was like, he loved Scotland because he was basically from New Scotland, and he just like came in, and I think I was a little too immature to train at this point, and I got this. This is where Cassidy and I got to like become best mates because like we're opening up a new area called the Meadows, and then Cassidy is serving with, I think it's McDonald.
Okay.
Is McDonald tall and skinny?
Yeah, tennis player from Vegas.
McDonald. And we were in the same flat with them, and man, that was a blast. Like, it was awesome. We like had these like pop-ups, like trade show pop-up banners that we'd like go to the high street on and like hand out pass along cards and just like total missionary stuff. But like the things I remember is like games that we played, like Hunter something. I don't even know what that is, but like you have to ask McDonald or Cassidy about. And like Cassidy had like a broken back. So like he had this like plastic garb that he had.
That's right.
Like, dude, you're like RoboCop. And like we just got along. And then I remember him having like a sty on his eye. And I was like, dude, how are you talking to people? But just like the memories we had there was awesome. But then sadly, like Drennan had he had some medical thing where like he had to stay in the flat. So this was like tough on me, but like it also helped me study a ton. So like with Drennan, I got a huge testimony for myself of like the scriptures, and like I think I read the Book of Mormon with Drennan like 5 times because we were literally tied to the flat a ton. And then he ended up having to go home. So on medical, but it was just awesome. With Drennan.
How long in was that before he went home early?
Went home 4.5 months in.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. Okay.
Maybe 6. But I can't remember exactly.
Interesting. Okay.
But memories there. And then from there, we went to my infamous area of Paisley. So then I went to Paisley, and I'm in Paisley for the next 7.5 months, I believe. So
Wow.
So this is where Paisley becomes 2 areas. I'm in the south part. Well, I don't know the directions, but it feels like the south part when I'm looking. I'm in Barheed, and McKay Lynch is in the upper part. Me and David Harrison are in the lower part, and I think his first companion was Kelly when we first go there. And like we're opening a new area there, so we don't have a flat, so we're 4 people deep in that one. And I just remember there. I remember a lot of things. I remember 1, torrential downpours. like where like we're out and we're wearing those missionary coats, and then you take your missionary coats off and your bottom of your trousers are just soaking wet. Like, I remember that piece. I remember, I mean, this is one of my favorite memories of my mission. It's just Barheat and Paisley in general and serving with those companions. I remember, cool story. Harrison and I are coming back from I think a dinner appointment, and we are going through city center, and we were too late to where we could have caught our bus from city center to our flat, so we have to walk it. And city center at 8 in the winter is dark as crap. So you don't want to be going through city center at 8 on the weekend with a bunch of stupid nets. So flipping tracksuits, man. They start throwing beer bottles and Harrison and I, and they sucker punched Harrison in the face.
Oh, man.
What?
Yeah, flipping hit Harrison in the face. I have a picture of his lip all cut up, but I just remember I wrote my journal. I read back. I was like, if I was at home, I would flipping blast those kids. I would flipping knock them out. Bunch of 15-year-old punks thinking they're tough. Like, hey, dumb Dave, man. No, geez, just the worst. So that's the story.
What was Elder Harrison's first name? Remind me where he was from.
David's from Farmington.
David.
So he's in Utah.
Okay.
So funny enough, I've got who I serve with and the where they're from. So I know he's from Farmington. And I've talked to David. He was a big golfer. So like he loves Scotland.
That's right. Okay.
Scotland too. So and we served together, had some good memories. Probably didn't work as hard as we should. So there's and I blame Lynch for that. Lynch. And then from David Harrison, I go to my best mate on the mission that you guys can't get a hold of, and no one can. So if he watches this, we're gonna call him out, and that's McKay Lynch. And McKay Lynch and we were together for basically 6 months in Paisley. We served together for 3 months of it, and like it was just a blast the whole time. We did it, like exchanges a lot, and we worked together a lot of the times, and we really had like a good feng shui with like our lessons. And I remember when we served together, just like having just the best of time with like studying or going and dinner appointments and just making the families just love us. So like they all like, this is when I think that's around the time Frederick. No, it's before that, but like Frederick put us together because like we were just dynamic with the members. So like this is when we were supposed to be like member missionary works, and I just remember making such great relationships with a lot of the families there, like the Davises and the McKechnies, who to this day I just adore. And just Lynch and I just going off so well with that member missionary work and just finding success. So I'm doing a lot of talking about like, man, I need to talk more about like the success I had as a missionary.
We'll go back to it if you need to, Jack.
I mean, if I'm going back to like I need to go back. So, like with Kellogg, we chapped like there's these, you know, the tall like rough, high. The tall flat where like it's like government housing. We were chapped from the top to the bottom. Like I'm telling you, he was a workhorse. But we chapped into Gladys Nkosi from Africa, and she was just like the softest spoken person and just loved Jesus, and everything went great with the lessons. And she was baptized in like swear a month. So that was awesome. And then we also chapped into Janet McLean. This was with McBride. And she was converted really quickly, just because she was just prepared by, I think that might have been a media referral, which we all love media referrals. And then we found the Chunda family, who was from Africa. I think this was with McBride as well. So like in my first area, we had awesome success where we had 5 baptisms.
Wow.
So that
That's
was
incredible.
so like, and like people were like, and we all know the stats. It was like, hey, you're going to baptize a person and a half when you go to Scotland. And I was like, what's a half a person? But that's like my first area. I had like huge success of like 5 people baptized, and they're not true Scottish people. They're more from Africa, but it was in Scotland, so it was cool. And then
That's cool. Good for you.
now jumping forward back to experiences with Lynch, like Lynch and I think some of the success that we had as missionaries in Scotland was not necessarily like member missionary work was great. But I got a message probably about 6 months, maybe a year ago, from Fraser McKechnie. And this was a guy, he was 15, 16 when Lynch and I were serving there. And he talked about how Lynch and I's experience as missionaries has changed his life forever. And I mean, he was bishop when I went back to Scotland in 18, and he served a mission. And like the member missionary work was well beyond the baptism when you were it was well beyond. It was like also strengthening the membership. Us being in their homes strengthened the membership significantly in Scotland. So I would say that's also my role in Paisley, because we didn't have a lot of success from a baptism perspective, but I would say when I went back, the McKechnie family, the Davis family, the people that we spent time in their homes, I think they're stronger members because of it. So that was some of the success we had there. And
Yeah. I agree to that, Chad, too. Like it's amazing having just been back to Scotland in the last month, the memories that some of these people have of you, and you don't remember how good or bad you were in the mission in the moments that you were there, but your example and the time you spent and your willingness just to be part of their home for even short moments is huge for those people that are in the church there. And as we all know, Scotland is not an easy place to live the gospel.
No,
but it really is. It comes down to the missionaries bringing the Spirit into their homes, showing them love, and making sure that they understood that it's not us that's extending that love, but it's the Savior who we represent, which is such a big deal.
Yeah, it was awesome. And definitely, I believe I was put on in Scotland for that type of missionary work. That speaks to like me making relationships with people was like where I excelled. And I was not Kellogg. Like I couldn't chap all day. And I needed it, but like, and I despised it. And then like, it was like a fresh breath of fresh air of Frederick. But like saying that, like, man, we all know that Reams and Frederick just brought like Scotland to the level that they needed to. They brought what they needed to the mission. Like I love Reams, I love Frederick, and it was such a great experience for me. Like those 2 years definitely changed my life in a lot of ways. And I'm only halfway through it. Gosh, dang, guys, I'm just blethering on, as they say.
Doing good.
You continue to blether.
So this is how it goes. You just want me to continue to blether?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, man.
Okay.
So you're with Lynch for 3 months. He changed your life.
I served like changed our life for like we're just such dorks. Like ice cube, freezing spiders in ice cubes and throwing it over in the shower and just be like, hey, I got you. Like, chapping doors, and like him seeing a rose bush on the sidewalk and picking it up and hitting me and it sticks in my coat. Like just like classic memories. Or like, and it was after like I had my ugly isotoner gloves, and like he took them and left them on the bus, and I'm like, what the heck, you lose my gloves? And he grabs a rose bush and hits me, and he's like, I got you. I was like, Lynch, you're such a punk. But we had just such a good time. And we were two Americans that played football, so everyone loved us. Like Lynch was infamous in the football field, and I would always say like I'm better than you, but in all reality, Lynch was a much better footballer than me. But we came to Scotland actually knowing how to play soccer, so like people love us.
Very, very, very true. For us tall, lengthy basketball players, different world.
Yeah,
Man.
like they didn't want to play basketball; they wanted to play football. And when they had two missionaries that could go play football with them, they were just like, so yeah,
exactly.
Like Lynch and I had a great time, and then from Lynch, I got to stay in the same area and train Leo Humphreys, who is another guy from England. And like all I remember about Leo is just like having to show him how to work, but then teach him a lot. So like he like I feel like we had really good study sessions as like I was his trainer as well. So he's another one of my sons. And I just remember really good study sessions with Leo and taking kind of that leadership role in a discussion. Not I call them discussions. I'm not even serving discussion time.
A study.
In lessons when we go
Lessons.
teach the lessons and preach my gospel. So like I remember taking that leadership role with Lynch. I kind of was like the piggyback guy off of Lynch because like he'd lead and then I'd come in like over the top with my testimony. With Humphreys, it was like you lead the lesson and Humphreys gets to come in over the top. And I just remember having really dynamic lessons with Humphreys, and then he was so like gung ho as a greenie. He was just like, we gotta work hard. And I was like, you are the man. And polar opposite of Lynch, like you ballroom dance. Lynch is a football, like crazy difference, but like we got on really well. And great study sessions. And this is when I believe it was like, I think you called it, I think it was the start of Hammer Time. And I don't want to know who started Hammer Time. I swear it was Martin and McConkey though. Maybe it's not.
That's hearsay.
But like I just remember like having like not Gordon B. Hinckley, but like Golden.
Jay Golden Kimball.
Jay Golden Kimball. Didn't Jay Golden Kimball swear?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like Jay Golden Kimball like talk tapes, but like
Yeah.
I remember those like being taboo and like them getting, and I was like, dude, this is not bad. But I remember like, man, I'm so like I'm like Doug and Squirrel right now. I'm all over the place.
You had like a front row seat though to McConkey and Martin like bringing the Paisley's zone like a phoenix rising from the ashes, because everybody's like, what is happening in the Paisley zone right now because of what President Yates was involved with and really just driving the urban ward in such a manner that made everybody go, okay, this is probably what we should be doing. And that's kind of where member missionary work started to come into everything, and it took off.
I just remember being so envious of Irvin, though. I'm just like, man, how are they doing it? That's what I remember. Be like, Irvin's way better than Barhead. So, but it was awesome. I mean, I had such good memories with those guys in Paisley. And it was just awesome. What you just said, like rising from the ashes, like everybody was like, can't serve in Paisley or in that area because it was like the pit, but it became awesome.
Completely different, like night and day difference. It was amazing.
I remember that. And then from there, it was on to Dunfermline, which we spent the next 6 months. Maybe, no, I have my dates wrong. I think it was 6, 3, 6, 7.5. Could be wrong.
So you finished in Dunfermline then?
No. Then I had one more.
Okay.
6 was one of those is can't remember. But I can tell you I had two companions in Dunfermline. One was my cousin. So I got to serve with Dallin in Dunfermline, and Dallin was in Dunfermline, so he was the senior missionary in the area. And I remember us being oil and water when I came to the area. So you would think that two cousins getting together would be fantastic. And it was, like, looking back on it, it was awesome. But like Dallin and I are based, like, people, when they see us, they say, hey, you guys could be brothers, not cousins. You're more like twins. But I remember coming to an area that was tough, and Dallin going through some tough times. So, like, I think Frederick was definitely listening to the Spirit on that one with the APs, and they're like, hey, Dallin needs not only a strong missionary, but a strong family companion. And when I got with Dallin, it was like, hey, we're going to fight a lot, but we're also going to have some success together. So, like, I mean, I remember ironing boards maybe cracking and holes getting larger, but also having great times with members and great experiences. And Dallin had some tough family situations at home that he was dealing with. He was up in Elgin. He was up in Elgin for a long time.
Yeah.
And then I think his trainer, I can't remember who his trainer was, but it was just tough. It was like, hey, Dallin, we got to do things a little bit differently. And we got on really well, and we had some successful members. Members all loved us. Like, no one knew that we were fighting back at the flat about stupid stuff, but I can't remember what we fought about. But yeah, it was great serving with my cousin, and the memories we made was awesome. We had some success with some awesome families, as well as, like, we got to baptize a couple other people from member missionary work, as well as some media referrals. So yeah, I had some success there. So,
What area of the Dunfermline Ward did you cover?
we were the only missionaries there.
Oh, okay. That's different than when I was there, because we had two sets.
Okay, we were there for a little bit alone. I was there for a long time. So we were there for a little bit alone, and then I think they put some senior sisters there.
Oh, really?
If they weren't there, they were in my district. This is when I also became district leader. So
Okay.
yeah, a little fuzzy up there. See, I told you, Zach. Like, this is where I was going to struggle, was with my memory. It struggles.
Hey, you're doing just fine.
But, like, I remember working through some members to find some success. Like, I think it was Emma Liston, where she was dating a kid, Stuart Rance, that ended up getting baptized, and she introduced him to the gospel, and we had some amazing lessons with Dallin and I, where the Spirit was, like, so strong, teaching those lessons to Stuart, and he just, like,
Cool.
ate it. So that was cool. And then
I actually saw Emma's mom at church when I was in Montrose just last month.
Really?
Yeah, and her dad is the bishop in the Montrose ward now.
Oh, that's crazy.
So excellent family. Loved the Listons.
Yeah. Didn't you serve in Dunfermline? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 months, the beginning of my mission.
Where was your flat?
We stayed in the flat that was closest to the church. So there's the roundabout that is literally under the bridge. And if you go,
Tesco wasn't across the street from Tesco.
Asda's across the street.
Asda.
Yeah.
But was it kind of like taller? Like,
Yeah, it was third story.
And then clay tennis courts.
There were tennis courts there?
Clay tennis courts right outside the door. You don't remember that?
I guess that makes sense, because there were the tennis courts. I gave no attention to it. It was probably there, and I just didn't.
It was our exercise. Dallin and I played tennis, and I was like, "This is amazing! You could see the tennis ball land." in clay. It was awesome. So that was a lot of fun.
I'm
But-
sure it was there, but I did not ever participate, nor have said equipment to participate. So
Well,
I don't know where you got it.
Dallin probably bought it before I got there.
Okay. All right.
yeah.
There you go.
I had tennis rackets when I got there. And then from Dallin, we went to who you just had call me out, good old Trevor Chadwick,
That's
who
right.
you just interviewed. And Trevor, man, he is, I mean, you guys just interviewed him. He is the funniest, like, just good dude. And we got on, but we also fought a lot too. I think I was coming from Dallin, who Dallin and I were like just always fighting, and then Trevor had to deal with like my backlash of like learning how to be a companion again and not fighting with your family. And we got on really well. made great relationships with the members as well. Like I remember Dom and I can't remember his brother. Dom and Tim Hudson.
Hudson's, yeah. I was in their house while I was there too. I
Holy cow.
spent the afternoon with their mom Julie and their sister Philippa. It was really nice to meet, to be with them. And Tim had just gone on holiday when I was in Dunfermline. Otherwise, I would have seen him, but I just missed him. So hopefully, I get back over there sooner than later and see him.
Yeah, I remember those guys, and I remember spending a lot of time with those guys, and that's where I think the member missioner, like I really got along with like the younger youth, and like when I start to think of my man, I'm getting super spiritual. When I start to think of my patriarchal blessing, like it literally calls out like your ability to make relationships with the young men, and that's where I thought I'd always be serving, and then like my mission kind of grew me for that, and now I coach all the time. So like that's where I think I had a huge success on my mission, is being like with the youth, like the bishop, the Lynch's sons. Like I remember like one of them being a huge drummer, and then the other kid, like I remember spending time in the bishop's home playing ping pong, and the bishop couldn't believe that he got beat by me. And like it was just awesome memories. And you'll have to ask Bishop Lynch, like, hey, you remember Wilcoxen beat you in ping pong? But it's like spending time in the members' homes, making great relationships was something that I remember on my mission. And then there's also Elizabeth Gibson and Louise Gibson. I spent a lot of time in their homes.
Right. Yeah.
With like, my goal in Dunfermline was to get Robert baptized. Didn't work, but like I think he definitely was influenced by Chadwick and I, and the testimonies that we brought into their home, I think was super powerful.
That's awesome. Good for you guys.
I remember about my serving with Chadwick is the time we spent with the members there. And then from there, I had my 6 weeks? My 6 weeks with Jonathan Smith in Falkirk. So if you look at a map of where Chad served, it's not a very big area of Scotland.
They're back in right in the middle.
Man, you got to see some great stuff. Nope. People are like, Scotland. I was like, yeah.
Scotland. You were stuck in the belt of Scotland.
There. Like
West Coast to East Coast. You're not going above the Alloa line.
Like I think Luke served in like Greenock or something, and I was like, man, I would love to serve in Greenock. Or you had Lynch up in Stornoway, you had Down up in Elgin. I was like, man, that'd be cool to go to the Highlands. Not me. Edinburgh and Glasgow and the suburbs. So that's where it was awesome. I mean, the time I had with the members in all those places. I can't remember a whole lot with Jonathan, but what I do remember with Smith is just how hard I wanted to work, and how it was the first area I actually got a car, but then it was taken. So I had the car for like a week. I remember being like so pumped. And then in my mission, it was just like, hey, we got to work hard. We got to finish strong. Or in my journal, I can't remember. In my mission, in my journal, I was like, we got to work hard. We got to finish strong. And I made some great relationships in Falkirk too. I think that's where I met Roddy and his wife, Roddy Kirk, and then we were able to baptize someone there. And then I think the bishop was like, it was like in my journal trying to recap Falkirk. I can't really remember a whole lot. It was like, we really got this. We got to get Falkirk. I believe it was a branch at that time. It was like, we got to get these guys to catch the vision of member missionary work. And it was like, they haven't caught the vision yet, but then eventually I feel like we had some success with the bishop there. And then I remember having a baptism with this huge man. His name's David Stevenson, and he was huge. Like puts you to shame, Hewlett. He was like 7 feet tall, 300 pounds. I was like, well, my 5'6" body can't baptize you, so we got to find someone that can actually baptize you, because it's not going to be me. And I remember it was rough, but we got it done, and it was fun. And
wouldn't have been any water left in the font after.
Well, that's the other thing, is the water. Whoever set it up was like not prepared, so the water was kind of cold. Baptism water is not supposed to be cold, and it was. Just good memory.
Probably another boiler system, like we've talked about. Everybody's boiler didn't work because we didn't baptize people frequent enough in the mission.
Yeah, probably, but I mean, I've been blethering on for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and hopefully you guys got that. It was an awesome experience and had some awesome memories with the elders that I served with, and had some success too. I mean, I think I was able to baptize, well, not me personally, but I was able to be involved in at least 8 people coming to this.
Well, tell us a little bit more about your memories, experiences with the Vrainses and then the Fredericks after that.
With Vrains, it was, the dude could not give a better hug. So I know you guys.
Amen to that.
I know you guys know being wrapped up in that big bear paw arm of his. I mean, I swear. What is it? Philip Cornelius Vrains is
William
Cornelius. I think it's Cornelius.
That's right. Yep.
William Cornelius Vrains is like 6'5", and his arms are probably the same wingspan as a 6'5" guy, and just embracing you, knowing you are being loved by someone that loves you. So that's what I remember about Vrains. And I remember Heidi just being the sweetest mom ever. Like, just, I love you all. So, I mean, I think I had like 5.5, 6 months with the Vrains. So,
yeah.
But just remembering him just being a mountain of a man and just loving all of us a ton. That's what I remember. And like, I got to, like, he's Modern Display, right? So like, I'd always go into Modern Display, come home, be like, hey, how we doing with Vrains? I bought my Christmas tree a couple of years ago from his son. And so like, I tried to stay connected with them as much as possible. And now he's, I think he's got a little bit of dementia now. So like he when I go into the office, he'd be like, so remind me who you are, what time you served. And it was just a lot of good times. Yeah. Frederick will remember, or I'm infamous in Frederick's life as being his first Dear John elder missionary that he had to talk back off a cliff of losing his high school sweetheart at 7.5 months into his mission, and being the first guy that gets to come in and talk to the president about how he lost the love of his life. So that's Frederick and I's relationship got started on like just the best note of like
good claim to fame there.
My claim to fame is I am Frederick's first Dear John missionary, that his life is ending because his high school sweetheart is no longer his high school sweetheart.
Did that happen while you were in Edinburgh then?
That did.
So you get the letter and you took it into the president's office and said, what do I do?
No, it was more like, dude, I don't know what to do. And he's like, who the hell are you?
Get over it.
Like, you're a baby. Flipping, go work. And I just remember just like thinking the world was ending, and yeah, I just that's such a bad memory. But like, I think I listened to Brains and don't laugh at me, Zach.
I can't help it, Chad. You're killing me.
I listened to Frederick's podcasts and just being always so impressed with their story. And Frederick was the man. Like he wasn't afraid to say, Chad, you suck. Figure out your life. So like he was like he's a coach. So he was exactly what I needed. And he was exactly to say, like, Chad, go work harder. Go figure out that you're here to do a job. And if you're going to be a baby about it, go somewhere else. And that's what I needed. Like I'm a athlete at heart. So like I needed the football coach to come and say, like, you're better than this. Go be better. Go make yourself proud. Go make your family proud. And that's what, like, I remember in my journals going back, like going to zone conference and having an interview with Frederick and just being like, that man is amazing. He told me exactly what I needed to hear and telling me, go be a better missionary than what you're being. So I'm not saying I would apostate. I'm not an apostate missionary if I'm giving that impression, but I would say Frederick had to call me out on my stuff and say, like, you're a better missionary than you're being. So stop being lazy. So, and I think all of us go through that. And if you don't, then you're a better missionary than me. I think all of us went through times where like the mission was harder than others. And he wasn't afraid to say, like, you're better than this. And that, it was super helpful.
Everybody needs a kick in the pants.
Yeah. And if you don't, you're better than me. So that's me.
It's true. You touched on it for 2 seconds, Chad, but tell us your experience during the Hammer time period.
I shouldn't have brought that up because I don't really remember a whole lot. I just remember a couple experiences.
Share them.
That was it. Like I remember like losing things that I thought was not a big deal. Like I was like, Joseph Smith talk tapes. Like I feel like that's okay.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong, but I was like, that seems all right. And like one of my favorite talk tapes to listen to was like, I can't remember if it was Golden, but it was, I don't know if you know the talk tape by the about a currant bush.
Oh yeah. That was one of my favorites too.
It's like
it was a conference talk.
To this day, yeah. Like to this day, it's like one of my favorite talk tapes or conference talks. And like I remember like the talk tape being not good to listen to.
Yeah, Hugh B. Brown.
Hugh B. Brown. And it was about like
that one is so good.
And I remember his voice, like, if I would have let you grow, you would never amount to anything. So I cut you down. And like that was so impactful for me.
Yeah. And
I remember that being like, you shouldn't be listening to this. I'm like, really? That's all I remember is those two memories, on the Hammer time. Those are the only two things I remember. So I can't remember a whole lot. I also remember like, okay, there's one more thing that I remember. Probably shouldn't talk about this.
Yeah, you should.
No, I shouldn't, because it will get me in trouble and make me look apostate. But I remember four of us.
You weren't.
I wasn't. I remember four of us being in Paisley, and I'm finding a new flat. So we finally break out of Paisley, and then I'm like, dude, come sleep over. And we have a sleepover, and somehow McConkey and Martin got wind of that sleepover, or I don't know what they did, but they had like a surprise appearance, and we delayed long enough to get the other two missionaries out the back window, and we were never caught. And I went back, and I was in my journal and totally forgot about this, and it was like,
You snuck missionaries out the back window without them knowing?
That's how we do it. That's how we do
Oh
it.
my gosh.
See, but that's the worst I've done. Like sleepover with my fellow missionary companions. I'm getting guys in trouble. Like I can't even remember who was at the sleepover. It had to be Lynch because I wouldn't have had anybody else sleep over. But and maybe Lynch and I were serving together. I don't know. Shouldn't talk about it. Sorry about that.
As we've said on the
This is not
podcast,
being recorded. I can't believe I'm on record talking about this.
Chad, it's okay. It was a long time ago.
I'm
And
a better man now.
I'm sure you are. I mean, let's be totally frank, okay? There's not a person on this podcast that did not have a missionary sleepover at some point that was not approved by some leader. I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
You're saying that you had a sleepover with approval?
Well,
Or
yeah,
did
of
not
course.
have?
We had like after the tattoo, we'd have 1,000 missionaries in some
Yeah,
people's flats,
saying
and
that
that's
it's
an approved sleepover.
Oh, well, they was definitely approved, so I had to sneak him out the back window before Martin and McConkey caught me. And it may not even been Martin and McConkey.
It doesn't matter. That's hilarious.
Doesn't matter. All I know is like I love Martin, I love McConkey, I love all of those guys. I played golf with Martin when he came out here. He beat me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I remember he said that. That's cool.
He did? He told me.
Not that he beat you, but that he played golf with you, Wilcoxen. Come on.
Yeah, he's the man. Love those guys. Yeah.
And who else do you want to call out that we need to get on the
Lynch.
podcast?
You got to get out Lynch. Everyone else you have already had. Like McCabe, you had Jeff? What's his name? McLean. Flip. Took me forever.
Yeah, Joe McLean's been on. Yeah.
McLean. So that's the other guy. You didn't call out Joe. Joe is in our group. You missed Joe.
He's on my list, and I don't know how I oversaw it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Joe, and that's the name I was like, who am I missing? And it was Joe. Yeah. You've had everybody. I mean, did you have Bear? Because Bear was impactful at the beginning of my mission with Kellogg. Like Oklahoma, like I was just like, you are the man. You are
Brian's been on twice.
Like I just remember, like he was a little beast of a man. I was just like, you're so impressive. Like
he's still a little beast of a man.
What about Bird? You have Bird?
We haven't got Bird yet.
Bird has not come on yet. We have reached out to Sean several times, but have not been successsul. So I will continue to try.
You had Garrett, who is a legend. Like the memories I have with these guys. I mean, the top. Like I hope I'm not. Garrett is a legend. So like, love Garrett. And I guess the story he totally made that up. Or did he tell that? He said I kicked him in the face. Did he say that? I did not kick him in the face.
I don't know. How long ago did we talk to Garrett McLeod? It's been almost a year, maybe more.
No, I just remember him saying something about like me kicking him in the face or something. I was like, I don't remember kicking him in the face. So making that up. Guys, I am literally you should probably cut me off because I'm literally going on tangents like a squirrel, Doug and squirrels. So I'm all over this. So
You definitely covered the 2 years.
I'm like, you caught me after practice where I'm like all high intensity, like hearts are racing. Sorry.
So here's my suggestion to you, Chad. Kellogg I've been in touch with, Marcus McBride I've been in touch with, Daniel Bierka, Nick Drennan. I actually just sent him a message because I had forgotten about Nick, just barely. David Harrison. I think we've been in touch with David, right, Jack? He's one of the Harrison, or is it Andrew Harrison that we were in touch with?
We've been in touch with Chad
Harrison. Sorry, there is 3 of them that we're trying to keep straight. You know, Lynch. I have been in touch with Leo Humphreys, and he's.
Oh, really?
I told him get your T-book out, and that'll help you remember stuff. And he said he was going to work on that. And then Dallin and Jonathan Smith, all of those have not come on the podcast. Some of them have said yes, no, maybe, and everything in between. So if you're willing to reach out to them and reconnect with your companions and invite them after you've been on, that would be fantastic, Chad. So
the ones I would like, you got to have Kellogg, you got to have Lynch, you got to have. I mean, you got to have. I'll get Dallin for sure.
Yeah.
Dallin's stories are. If Dallin could tell his story, it's a story.
I agree. I think it might be healing for him to recollect some of those things and realize how far he's come in life since then. You know,
Yeah, it's. I
It's
mean,
not easy.
I mean, Dallin's experiences have been tough, and he's just an awesome dude, and love the guy to death. And it would be great for people to hear his story.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely. The outreach from you will mean a heck of a lot more than from random Zach Hewlett Facebook messages or tracking
You-
down phone numbers or whatever.
You worked on me, Hewlett. So don't sell yourself short. You worked on me, and you kept working on me. And like we served around each other, but not ever like that close.
Super brief. I think when you were in Paisley,
Really?
6 months. Yeah, maybe it was when you were with Biatker just before he went home, because I was in Hamilton at that point in my mission.
That's probably where it was.
Yeah. So we were probably in the same zone for a 6-week period. That's trying to remember that. But like beyond that, we didn't have a whole lot of interaction other than just like passing in the night and waving.
But like I remembered you like really well. You're like, hey, come on the podcast. And I was like, okay, fine, Hewlett, we'll go.
I'm glad I made a positive impression on you.
And then I would like ghost you and be like, I'm not on the podcast. I'm not good enough. And I'm not. I'm a flipping. This is gonna be the worst episode.
All right, let me just stop you right there, Chad. You're a coach. You don't ever say that to anybody. You don't say you don't say you're not good enough.
You can't say can't. You can't.
No. You got to be a better coach and realize that you're great. You're fantastic. You made an impact on people's lives. I mean, I can share this with you and you'll appreciate it. So the Lynch boys now live in the Montrose ward as well. And I was there on a Sunday fast and testimony meeting the beginning of August. And both Jordan and Joshua are there at church. And Jordan gets up and says that we collectively were part of the golden age of missionaries in the Scotland Edinburgh Mission that had such an impact on him that made him decide to go on a mission. And now his life is what it is because of us. And I'm telling you, Chad, like I thought about all the missionaries that have gone through Dunfermline, including myself, and the list of those missionaries that had an impact on his life. I mean, imagine how many other lives have been touched by those of us that served in the S.E.M.
Yeah.
You know, it's countless numbers. It's you said Fraser McKechnie in Paisley, you know, like those are the people. Tim and Dom. Tim's not active, but I don't care. Tim's a good human being.
Right.
Dom served a mission. He's active. He's doing his thing, living in Australia. I feel the same way. Like I didn't have any baptisms in my time on my mission, apart from, you know, a few child of record baptisms that I participated in.
Mm-hmm.
But the impact on the lives of the people in Scotland it means more to me in most instances, because look at like these people that have embraced the gospel, married in the gospel, they have families in the gospel, and the church continues to flourish now where we have a temple coming to Scotland because of those families that continue to do what they're doing in a place where, as we know, man, it's tough. It is a rough place. Let's just say that is not an easy place to be a believer of Christ, and beyond that, to be a follower of the Church of Jesus Christ. So you made an impact, Chad. So don't sell yourself short ever again. Don't ever say that. I will not let you, because I think the world of you. You're absolute legend of our mission.
Great summary, Hewlett. Thank you for that. You're the man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, how about that for a pep talk?
Yeah, seriously. Clipping, you in coaching? Goodness, we need to be.
I'd love to be your coach. Just call me anytime.
Still got an opening up here, Hewlett.
Jack coaches high school basketball. He keeps trying to get me to go coach with him, and I'm not driving that far to go coach a high school team.
Dang. What do you coach, Jack?
Lions High School. I'm the assistant to the varsity and head coach for JV.
Nice.
So
It's awesome.
But Chad, we really appreciate you making the time coming on here. Podcast isn't possible without people like yourself making the time coming on and sharing. So we really appreciate it. And I think Zach already said it in as many words, but we love you as our brother in Scotland.
Thank you. Love you both as well. And I really appreciate this time coming on here and going back down through memory lane. Hopefully I did an okay job with my all over the place thinking and trying to tell the stories. And
You did great. You did great, Chad.
it was a lot of fun and a lot of great memories with the brothers that I had. So like great call out where the brothers in Scotland, like I have some amazing brothers that I've made out there. Hewlett, Jack, we didn't get to serve around each other at the same time, but like Hewlett, McLeod, McCabe, McLean, Lynch, Barty, like all these guys that I served around. It's like I don't talk to them every day, but they're my brother in Scotland. So it was a great time and really appreciate talking about it.
Yeah, you bring up a great point, Chad. We don't talk every day, but you sit down and have a conversation with our brothers and sisters in Scotland, and it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
You know, you hop back onto your relationship, and that kinship that we have of our love of that land is really what drives those relationships amongst all of us. So again, love you so much, Chad. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll certainly be in touch more soon. But in the meantime, we'll give you a cheerio and we'll talk more.
Cheerio, guys. We'll see you.
Love you, Chad.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.